Hi and welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be talking about the things you should know when you're looking for an apartment so that you don't end up in the ghetto.
Trash! What is...
I lived in the ghetto with my last roommate and it was terrible. I mean, it was awful. We had someone try to break in because they were so strung out on drugs that they just didn't know where they were at. I learned the difference between fireworks and gunshots. I'm just saying.
Trash! What is...
It was a miserable experience. Everything was falling apart, broken. No one ever came to fix things. And we were young when we got the place, and we didn't know everything. You know, we had gotten apartments before together and it had been fine, but we really messed up and we really kind of either ignored or didn't read into signs. So here are 5 signs to make sure that you don't end up in the ghetto. So number 1, let's talk about the reviews of the place. Now, you might find the reviews to be really terrible, and I wouldn't totally go off of reviews because we lived at a place before where the reviews were bad, and it was actually a good place though. We actually liked living there, but definitely review the reviews and compare and contrast the amount and the time frame of when it happened. Because maybe if it's like a few years ago and they're saying negative things about the place, maybe it got better, new management, new staff, you never know. If it's really recent and it's a lot of them and all of them are negative, it's definitely something that you should pay attention to. And if it doesn't have reviews, that's also a bad sign, because either they aren't letting people review, which means they know they're bad, or nobody's bothered to review, which, that could be less bad, but you would definitely want to see at least some positive feedback somewhere. Number 2 is racial diversity. You want to see racial diversity in any place that you want to live. Now here's why. Because there's a reason that is only attracting one race or one nationality or one type of person. So if it's only attracting Black people, Hispanic people, white people, Italians. We lived in an all Hispanic apartment complex. We were the only white people that lived there, and we thought, oh, this is fine. We were the only people that spoke English. A lot of the people were illegal, which, that's fine. They even said they make you pay a higher deposit if you are illegal. That's a red flag, okay? If you have a shady apartment complex that is willing to do that, that is a red flag. So you just don't pick places that only have one type of people. There's a reason that there's only one type of people there. And unless you're that type of people and you want to be only with that people, then you shouldn't go there. You should go somewhere that has all races, all nationalities, because that's where you're going to find just a better environment, And I'm serious, like even white people, people don't see the stigma about white people. White people do meth. Okay?
Let him up! Ricky, come on, off! Get off here, man! Wait, go, fish.
White people do meth.
Like if I'd had a role model when I was younger, learning how to grow dope, and things would have been a lot smoother. Because now if some kid wants to grow dope, they can come and talk to me.
And we do crazy shit.
He's slapping guys. They can't drive. Fuck's sake. Corey, get us the fuck out of here. Got the key. We gotta walk, you guys. Get your shit.
So if there's a whole group of us, be afraid.
Okay. Trash. What is...
Okay? Same with every other race. If you get one of them together, it's just like, and there's no break of diversity, there's something wrong. Okay, and then number 3 is going to be that you want to pay attention to the naming of the apartment complex. So affordable, reasonable,
trash. What is...
economical. You don't want to see that. If you see that, that is a red flag, okay? You know why? Because they know it's shitty, but they can get you because their prices are reasonable. And they're letting you know, hey, it ain't nice over here, but you can afford it. So that's what they say. I mean, even the last place I lived was called affordable living at da 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 da. Yeah. It was basically one of those things where you want to watch out though for when people use things like that. I mean, it's the same thing when you see like luxury, deluxe, stuff like that. It's expensive, right? And you don't want to be in a cheap place. You want to pay the cheap, but you don't want to be the cheap. Okay.
Trash! What is...
Okay. Number 4, it is that you want to make sure that your deposit, that they don't allow you to have like a flexible deposit. So when you go in and you do all of your paperwork, if they tell you that, oh, your deposit might be more or less based off of your credentials. Now, sometimes that's okay, but at our last place, as I said, if you were not a citizen of the US, they would just be like, okay, pay us $1,000 more on your deposit. What? I'm just saying. And then like, you know, they're like, if you're a felon, we'll just make you pay more. So you don't want to hear that though. You don't want people to be below the poverty rate in your area. You don't want people to be, you know, not making enough. You don't want people to have really low credit because that's just, you know, I know they're all like stigmas, but there's some reason that people have that stigma. You know, you don't want to be in the area where everyone has a low credit score. You don't want to be in the area where everybody can barely afford it. You don't want to be in the area where everyone's a felon or where everyone's illegal, because that's just the start of the ghetto. Because once you start feeling the struggle, that's when you do bad shit. When you start feeling the pressure of financial woes, that is when you turn to doing some crazy, off-the-wall kind of things. If you ever have been, you might know the struggle of when you feel the pressure and like, if I just did this, I could make it. 5 is that you want to really pay attention to the area. So I know that's really like self-explanatory, but don't just go there once, don't just go there twice. Go there a freak ton of times before you move there. You want to know the flow of traffic, you want to know how many homeless people are in the region, and you want to know whether there's gang violence. And you can definitely look up the police reports. Also, red flag if the dumpster is overflowing with trash.
Trash! What is...
If there are shopping carts around.
Trash! What is...
If you don't see maintenance riding around on a little golf cart.
Trash! What is...
That's also a red flag, because you don't want them to be contracting out random people that don't speak English or aren't real maintenance people. We definitely had some people from the sticks that would just come in their work vans that were either trailer trash or illegals, and they would just, you know, fix stuff, and they didn't know what they were doing because they weren't licensed. And I remember that, and they never wore uniforms. They never had, you know, the little golf cart. And you want to pay attention to the way that the landscape is maintained as well. The grass, you know, the flower beds. You just look at all of those little details because they matter. They do. I mean, even if your apartment on the inside looks nice when you walk through it that one time before you sign for everything, you know, if the outside looks bad, then the inside is probably actually bad too, because they can make it look good for 5 minutes, but then once you have it and then something goes wrong and you need something fixed and no one comes to fix it, and it's just broken for weeks, months, or even almost the whole time you live there, that is when you realize that you should have paid attention to everything. Because if maintenance and, you know, there's not upkeep, then they're not upkeeping you. They are not going to upkeep your apartment if they can't even keep the outside clean. Alright, so that's what I have for you guys today. Like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you back at you next week. Bye.